Good evening. It's Thursday, July 2nd, 6:33 p.m. and the worldometer has reset. Let's dive right in. So today we had over 200,000 new cases in one day. It is another grim milestone. Very concerning. Something that we never thought that we would see, but due to the way a lot of people are behaving in this country and in the world, it was inevitable. Top deaths, usually Brazil, over 1,000. Followed closely by Mexico, USA, India. And second new cases was Brazil. And today, statewide for USA, my state has shamed us all. Let's see. So Florida with another 10,000 new cases today. California surged to a brand new record of 9,000 new cases in one day. Followed by Texas 7,000, Georgia 3,000. Deaths are steadily climbing in the states, though they're still kind of low overall. So we're gonna go on to let's go on to today's latest news. All news that's been out today. Herman Cain, former presidential candidate, radio host, hospitalized after COVID-19 diagnosis. Cain was at President Donald Trump's rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma on June 20th. At least 8 of the campaign staffers who attended the rally tested positive for COVID-19. And today, Mike Pence went to Florida. I think it was Florida, and it might have been Arizona, but probably Florida. And he was saying that Florida is looking like it's doing pretty well in the coronavirus fight, and that he's proud of President. We should be proud of President Donald Trump's approach. Now they can't admit that this has obviously gone out of control because it doesn't look bad for a re-election, and people buy it. People buy it because they're chumps. The National Guard will be responding to COVID-19 for the foreseeable future. Since March, troops have been mobilizing to work in hospitals, staff testing stations, distribute supplies, and otherwise provide logistics backup to local agencies, and that is likely to continue. I think the president mentioned a couple of weeks ago that they would have the National Guard distribute vaccines, or the military, meaning them. But that's nowhere near in sight since vaccines are mostly failing, and we won't have one till at least end of next year, I would assume, once the necessary months of trials have been done. Alabama students hold COVID-19 parties with prize for first sick person. Sonia McKinstry said students hosted the parties to intentionally infect each other with the new coronavirus. McKinstry said party organizers purposely invited guests who tested positive for COVID-19. I'm going to move on because someone had already covered that. Alabama, Billy Joe Driver, the mayor of Clanton, is currently in the hospital from complications with coronavirus. Ambulance strike team deploys to South Texas as COVID-19 cases and deaths shatter records. This is a crucial time, and there is no doubt that quickly opening the state of Texas did not work. Hospital occupancy surging due to increased coronavirus cases in South Carolina. This is a 73.41 statewide hospital bed utilization rate. Of the 7,830 inpatients beds currently used, 1,125 are occupied by patients who have either tested positive or are on investigation for COVID-19, says DHEC. Colorado's COVID-19 outbreaks shifting from nursing homes to retail outlets to restaurants. Virginia, health officials said since the last week in May, cases in the 20-29 age group shot up 250%. For people younger than 20, it was up 240%. We have recent reports of exposures at local bars, family celebrations, and socializing with friends. Texas, Tamaulipas governor tests positive for COVID-19. Also in Texas, I found a bit where the reporters went into the Texas ICU, and this is what they reported. They interviewed doctors and took photos and all that. The disease is not just affecting older people. De La Volpe said he's lost track of how many patients he's treating who are in their 20s. He also said there's a long waiting list for rooms. The patients are getting younger and are more sick. There's an increase in infections among pregnant women. So much so, Methodist Hospital has a dedicated unit for the NICU for babies who are born to mothers who are infected. I think they said 30% or 40% of pregnant women coming in were infected. The newborns are taken from their mothers soon after being born as a precaution to the other babies. Though they are testing negative, they're taking the precaution regardless. Yesterday was probably one of my worst days that I've ever had, he told Marcus. I got 10 calls, all of whom were young people who otherwise would be excellent candidates to be able to be put on ECMO. They're sick. They're so sick that if they don't get put on, if they don't get that support, they're probably going to die. I had 3 beds. I'm making that decision, being able to figure out who is really going to benefit. It is a level of decision making I don't think a lot of us are prepared for. Young patients on ECMO are showing dark, unhealthy-looking blood being exchanged for healthy blood by the machine. And that's an interesting observation that the blood is turning black, because we've seen that before. Remember, we had 2 doctors who were sick from the early outbreak in Wuhan whose skin turned black as a result of the virus. I mean, it attacks the blood. It attacks the blood vessels. I'm not surprised that people's blood is turning like black and like chunky and all that. ECMO is the last method doctors have to prevent multi-organ failure from all the blood clots and lack of oxygen patients' organs are receiving. Doctors in ICU don't know why some healthy patients are dying and some unhealthier patients are surviving. I don't think that there was one specific incident that really led to the spike. I think people after March and April were extremely frustrated with being inside. And once those restrictions lifted, they wanted to get out. Some protected themselves and some didn't. And now we're seeing the results of that, said one doctor. We are being overwhelmed, said another. I don't think I have seen anything like this ever. And I would say that if you want to see August 1st, maybe you should stay indoors and isolate July 4th. I do have one more story, a report that I made. But Peak Prosperity already went ahead and did a report on it. It's a report on the autopsies. I might do it as a separate video later anyways. So I would suggest you head on over to Peak Prosperity. He just dumped his latest video where he talks about the autopsy report that I made a report on today. And some other things like the in the lab, which I'll also cover in another video. And studies on the immune system and antibodies. That's today's report. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.